All right, not sure what happened there. We had some technical difficulties. My phone quit recording. I'm going to start at the beginning of that paragraph. The tornado tore one more time on the shore at the opposite side of the lake. Brian could hear trees being ripped down, and then it was gone. Gone as rapidly as it had come. It left nothing but Brian in the pitch dark. He could find nothing of where his fire had been, not a spark. Nothing of his shelter, tools, or bed. Even the body of the fool bird was gone. I am back to nothing, he thought, trying to find things in the dark, back to where I was when I crashed, hurt, in the dark, just the same. As if to emphasize his thoughts, the mosquitoes, with the fire gone and protective smoke no longer saving him, came back in thick, nostril-clogging swarms. All that was left was the hatchet at his belt, still there. But now it began to rain, and in the downpour he would never find anything dry enough to get a fire going. And at last he pulled his battered body back in under the overhang, where his bed had been, and wrapped his arms around his ribs. Sleep couldn't come with the insects ripping at him, so he lay the rest of the night, slapping mosquitoes and chewing with his mind on the day. This morning he had been fat, well, almost fat, and happy, sure of everything, with good weapons and food and the sun in his face, and things looking good for the future. And inside of one day, just one day, he had been run over by a moose and a tornado, had lost everything, and was back to square one, just like that. A flip of some giant coin, and he was the loser. But there is a difference now, he thought. There really is a difference. I might be hit, but I'm not done. When the light comes, I'll start to rebuild. I still have the hatchet, and that's all I had in the first place. Come on, he thought, baring his teeth into darkness. Come on. Is that the best you can do? Is that all you can hit me with? A moose and a tornado? Well, he thought, holding his ribs and smiling, then spitting mosquitoes out of his mouth. Well, that won't get the job done. That was the difference now. He had changed, and he was tough. I'm tough where it counts. Tough in the head. In the end, right before dawn, a kind of cold snap came down. Something else new, this cold snap, and the mosquitoes settled back into the damp grass and under the leaves, and he could sleep or doze. And the last thing he had that morning as he closed his eyes and the last thought he had that morning as he closed his eyes was, I hope the tornado hit the moose. When he awakened, the sun was cooking the inside of his mouth and had dried his tongue to leather. He had fallen into a deeper sleep with his mouth open just at dawn, and it tasted as if he had been sucking on his foot all night. He rolled out and almost bellowed with pain from his ribs. They had tightened in the night and seemed to pull at his chest when he moved. He slowed his movements and stood slowly, without stretching unduly, and went to the lake for a drink. At the shore he kneeled, carefully and with great gentleness, and drank and rinsed his mouth. To his right he saw that the fish pond was still there, although the willow gate was gone and there were no fish. They'll come back, he thought, as soon as I can make a spear or bow and get one or two for bait, they'll come back. He turned to look at his shelter, saw that some of the wood for the wall was scattered around the beach, but was still there. Then saw his bow jammed into a driftwood log, broken, but with the precious string still intact. Not so bad now, not so bad. He looked down the shoreline for other parts of his wall, and that's where he saw it. Out in the lake, in the short part of the L, Something curved and yellow was sticking 6 or 8 inches out of the water. It was a bright color, not an earth or natural color, and for a second he could not place it. Then he knew what it was. It's the tail of the plane. He said it aloud, half expecting to hear somebody answer him. There it was, sticking up out of the water. The tornado must have flipped the plane around somehow when it hit the lake, changed the position of the plane, and raised the tail. Well, he thought, well, just look at that. And at the same moment, a cutting thought hit him. He thought of the pilot, still in the plane, and that brought a shiver and massive sadness that seemed to settle on him like a weight. And he thought that he should say or do something for the pilot. Some words, but he didn't know any of the right words, the religious words. So he went down to the side of the water and looked at the plane and focused his mind, the way he did when he was hunting the fool birds and wanted to concentrate. Focused it on the pilot and thought, have rest forever. And that's the end of chapter 16. So the plane is back, kind of. He's survived a tornado, but lost everything, but hasn't lost his spirit. He hasn't lost the new thing that he's discovered about himself, that he's able to survive hard things. And we don't know that we're able to survive hard things until we're faced with hard things. So he's been faced with something very hard and he's survived it.